But Stephen was great at explaining things and making sure he was on the board with the plan. Pop very much understood it was a bigger game than just having the immediate hit. There are a lot of things he could have done that would have been very successful in the short term, but he completely bought into the long-term vision. He was like, okay, instead of just having one platinum record, let's go all the way with it. He understood, even at such a young age, that you can sacrifice a little bit now for the bigger payday. 50 Cent to me said, to me, he was still in the mixtape phase. He was still where I was at during Guess Who's Back and 50 Cent's The Future. There was just 2 tapes that went out. I felt like he was blossoming into who he was really going to be. You can hear musically how things shifted. When they're drilling, the production feels aggressive because they got to be competitive with everybody else. But when he's relaxed and he was making records, that's where you could say he was a little better than those other guys. Like, that's the thing he had, I think, more than anything that distinguished himself, as you can really completely see. So, Pop always had a great ability to make these kind of structured songs. Nowadays, artists can make strong songs with one verse or like 3 hooks, but the way he made the songs was really structured, like Throwback artists. A hook, verse, hook, and a bridge, just the kind of the very basic kind of cookie cutter way that really was a little bit of a throwback, and he was really able to fit the drill into that very, very well. But then he kind of started, as Victor describes here, he started finding different pockets to put melodies in. He was really finding his vocal tone when he was singing. Shivam Pandya says he would be like, I'm like an award-winning singer, right? Why are you surprised? Because he wasn't listening to rap. It was all R&B music. That was his favorite genre. He was great. He really knew a great deal about it. He would be riding around in a car, and he would just come up with a melody and start recording a voice note. He would do things in that sing-songy way, and he would easily identify phrases that he wanted to say and put down into a song. And that instinct, I think, is it's pretty interesting. It's pretty poignant there. So the drill stuff was his introduction to everybody, and it opened up the audience. But the singing, that was going to be where everything changed to the biggest degree possible. So, yeah. As Stephen Victor describes here, we were recording this album everywhere. He made a couple of those songs in London and 4 or 5 of them in the Bahamas. He recorded in New York, Paris, L.A. The whole time he was traveling like crazy. Again, this is a 19-year-old kid. That's what something doesn't like. He was at such a incredible point so quickly. I think that's another big thing that people don't realize. He was just really going through that in such a, the development was, I think, really quicker than a lot of people realize. And that was a very, very powerful. But I think that he really could have just the potential. It is really, really, really sad to see just that happen to someone who just could have been so, so dominant. So Benjamin Lust, A&R, and Victor, said, Pop was kind of nocturnal unless he had promo early in the morning. He'd get a studio session for 11 p.m., then he'd make anywhere between 2 and 8 songs from 11 to 7. He'd sleep between 2 until 2 p.m. or 3 p.m., then he'd do it all again the next day. So he was pretty much, nocturnal. So he really was a workaholic. He was definitely a grinder and really turned some out in the kind of the studio sessions, especially there in L.A., we were always working on the album in real time, said Victor. It really looked like he had a kind of big role in this. Whatever he was feeling emotionally or creatively, he just laid it down in the moment. Like, that was a big thing for him. Like, really, I think a lot of rappers do this. It's just like, we got to put it out there. We got to get out there now, Like, just don't let the thought go away, which is definitely something that makes a lot of sense. But, yeah, so Swerve. Swerve. That's his producer. Says his studio atmosphere leaned towards a party vibe. As soon as I came into the room, he asked me to play beats straight away. When he heard a beat, he'd start rapping over it, mumbling, trying to catch the flow. He usually wouldn't go off into the booth by himself, though. He'd be in the main room with everybody. Mike would be right there next to the engineer. Everyone else would be in the back and just start going in off the top. And it's interesting to see learn about how rappers, because you oftentimes you get the you just get the normal song, and you don't really know how the sausage is made. And there's definitely different styles. Like Jay-Z, I saw a video where he was I think 99 Problems, he was working days and days before the Black Album was supposed to be released, and he would just be going in to the studio, thinking of 4 bars, and then going out and talking like the reporters for like the pre-release party. It was like literally about to come out like in a day. The Black Album was at that time, and he would just go talk to some people, go record another 4 bars, talk to some people, scrap the previous 4 bars, record better 4 bars, and then go talk to more people. Like that is a very, very interesting to see. Each rapper, I think, especially some of the better ones, they have different styles, and it's really, I think, interests me personally to like know how they do it. So Stephen Victor says sometimes it would just be me, him, and the engineer, and sometimes it would just be like 100 people in there. It really just depended. Whenever he caught a feeling, he would just go figure it out. The music would speak to him. Some songs, he would just figure it out, an idea. He would lay down a melody, come back and re-record it later. Then he started not recording in the booth at all. He started bringing the microphone in the studio with him. Shivam Pandya says he was a star. He walks in and you're really very aware of his presence. Sometimes he would be in the spirit of the room and just vibe with people. Sometimes he looked for some real-time feedback. He would be excited by a bar he spit and just be like, "That's fire, right? Yeah, you like that? You feeling that?" I remember he would always say, "Yo, I need to fight the beat. I need to fight the beat right now." That's really a great kind of, I think, encapsulation of the drill mindset there that you can kind of see coming through. Jess Jackson, he always used to say, this is an engineer, said he always used to say, "Don't turn me up too loud." He was like, "No, man, they're going to hear me. My voice is crazy. They're going to hear me regardless. My voice cuts." And yeah, he just has that. It's true. He does have that kind of like cutting voice that some people have. Just people carry through. Like, for example, literally my history teacher has that. Like, she's just a piercing voice. And Pop Smoke had it too. So Benjamin Luss, again, A&R, said, the people he met during these times were giving him real advice. After these conversations, he put the wisdom that people said to him in his music. His lawyer called him brazen one time, and he put the word brazen into his song on Get Back. He said, my lawyer said, "Poppy, why you so brazen? Poppy, I adore you." Woo! Yeah, I whenever I do the woo, it's just this is really cringe. I apologize, but again, I can't help it. I said, "Poppy, I adore you." I said, "Baby, I am normal." Woo! Yeah, we're gonna play that in the mix coming up in about 6 minutes, so you're gonna want to stick around for that. But yeah, Tyga here compares him to a sponge, really taking everything in from different artists around him. 50 Cent said he kind of struck a chord with Pop Smoke. He said, "I would hear influences in some of his choices." He says the same things, things that kind of the same tone as me. He just gives a new vibe to it because of voice and everything. Stephen could play 9 records where he made references from my records. 50 and Pop, Stephen Victor says, are like the exact same person. They're very deliberate and straightforward. They play no games. Get Rich or Die Tryin' is an album that he remembered from his childhood. Shivam Pandya says, of Pop Smoke. He was a big fan of it. The 50's career arc is something that he admired a lot, and that he had great respect for everything that he's been able to do. Having 50 take him under his wing, be so nice to him, and give him so much wisdom was something he really appreciated. My goal was to take Pop to 50 Cent so that he could see a real life version of what he could be. That's kind of interesting, actually. Just like the point to where like 50 Cent's gotten, where he has just such like transcended rap and just like really been in kind of the way Snoop Dogg has. It's just this kind of cultural figure right now. Like, he's a businessman, he's an actor. Yes, he's a rapper, obviously, first and foremost, but he really has kind of, as Victor was trying to do with the singing and getting him into singing with that strategy, really just trying to take him into a point where he could be like legitimately secure and legitimately like establish himself as a mainstream cultural force. And that is what we saw in a big way with 50 Cent. Like, that, again, that is really what he could end up being. Or could have, obviously, because of the tragedy, just the absolute tragedy that we have seen. So, yeah, 50 Cent said of Pop Smoke, he would come to the studio and all of them were strapped. It was hard telling them not to do it because we did it that way years ago, but we got away by the skin of our teeth. I don't even know how we got away with it. To a point, you got to be concerned because all the homies is not rappers. And if they heard some of the things you said and they feel disrespected by some of that shit, you got to be on point or you'll get left out there in the street. Victor, again, describing 50 as a little bit of just an older version of Pop. So when they sat down together, 50 was like, yeah, all that shit you're doing, I did it too. Cops were after me. I had to smack a couple of people up. I had guns all over the place. I had a beef with this person. I had a beef with that person. And 50 was like, I just stayed focused and kept that over there. I did what I had to do. Yeah, and there's still so much we don't know. Again, as I said before, the murder is unsolved, so we really don't know how Pop Smoke was killed and really what it was. Just like some kind of guy with a prior connection to him or a just random creepy home invasion. But yeah, that's just so little is known. But the obviously the tragedy of his death kind of hangs over all this and really what he could be in terms of this new 50 Cent, and just like how they were temperamentally and how I've just seeing them compared in that way by Victor was very, very interesting. Just definitely not something I think about. Yeah, so Pusha T with a great quote here. Just think about who we lost. When you hear this album, know that there were 5 to 7 more of these. Like, yeah, that's really kind of a great way of putting it. Like, that makes me sad hearing Pusha say it like that. 5 to 7 more Pop Smoke albums. Like, the potential, just absolutely heartbreaking. When I'm looking at him, I'm going, I see what it is. I can see what he's trying to do, and I believe he can do it. So I'm telling him, the people around him, just watch him. Look out for him. Make sure he's all right. Don't let him go into situations he may be willing to do, but shouldn't have to do. And I told him specifically, like, I know what this is. I know what you're doing. I'm like, do you want to do this, or do you want to do that shit y'all are doing with them? He's like, oh shit, I got to make some adjustments, because he'd rather end up in the position that I'm in. He really did genuinely kind of want to go to that place. And the fact that he just couldn't end up there, just such a sad thing. So Quavo said that he reminded him of Bobby Shmurda when he first met him. That's what made me click with him, because me, Bobby, and GS9 have a great relationship. It seemed that he had really the same hunger as them. We had so many similarities, and I found out he was really young, so I just wanted to help him out and give him game. Again, think about what you were doing if you're older than 20 listening to this. Like, again, just such an incredible rise from Pop Smoke here, and such a tragic fall. So Pop and Quavo really realized how much they had in common. Quavo saw a lot of himself in Pop, and Pop saw that Quavo was a real person. They had mutual respect for each other for different reasons. Quavo said as soon as Pop got on, he was ready to fly private and shit. So I let him know that you need to take it one step at a time, because this game will swallow you when you get to splurging. I just told him, man, you got to take your time. I went from coach to first class to a jet plane. It was all through years of growing and money managing. I had to talk to him on some Big Brother type shit. They call me Uncle Huncho, so I had to lead people in the right way. After that, we started talking about life, girls, and what comes with the fame, jewelry, cars, houses. I feel like I missed that one. I ain't put him up on the game about the Airbnbs and stuff like that. I feel like I would have helped him. Nobody's got a timeline on their schedule, so you can't even say that, but I just miss my bro. I feel like if I was around or near the spot, I could have done something. I don't want to nothing happen to my partners who I've been around and who I've given advice to. That's my guy, man. I miss my boy. Very sad there. Yeah, just reading this, knowing, again, the tragic end of this is just so sad. Shivam Pandya, again, general manager at Victor Victor. Pop always trusted Quavo. I remember when we went to Paris, there was one of those styles from Off-White making selections for what he would wear at the show. I chose the blue coat. I was like, this is the one. You got to wear it. He was like, no, man, it looks like a robe. This isn't it. He was sending pictures to Quavo and Steven like, yo, do I look crazy in this? And Quavo was like, nah, bro, it's Fashion Week. You got to. That's the style. Quavo was like, he didn't really know what to wear. He was like, am I supposed to put this shit on? Are you serious, bro? Don't lie to me. Then we went to the Virgil show together, and he made sure there was a spot for him to sit beside me. So we watched the show right next to each other, and it threw me off like this. At first, I'm like, man, this young kid just wants me around him. But I loved it, and I wanted to be around him too. Damn, yeah. Very, not That's very, very, very sad.